Hello beautiful people, welcome back to my channel. My name is Ifoma. So in today's tutorial we'll be making this beautiful off shoulder crop top, and it's also a wrap top. So to make this you will be needing a 1.5 fabric or 2 yards depending on your size. So if this looks like what you're interested in, let's dive into the video. So to begin, this is my paper, and we are pretending that this paper is unfold. Okay, so I already drew a straight line on the shoulder. That place is the shoulder line. So from there I'll be taking the rest of the body measurement. So from there I'm going down by 10 inches, which is my bust point, and I'm also extending I'm going down by 20 inches, which is also the full length of the top. Okay, so after making those points I'm going to connect them with a straight line. So I also connected the full length of the top with a straight line. Okay, so after doing this, the next thing we're going to do is the neck of the top. Okay, so mind you, what we are cutting now is the back of this top. So to take the neck measurements, we went in by 3 inches and then we went down by 1.5 inches. Okay, the neck of this top is not absolutely necessary, but you can also use this method to cut if you are not making yours off shoulder, if you want yours to be with shoulder. Okay, so after that we're just connecting the neckline. Okay, this is the neckline for the back, as I said before, and we will not be using this neckline because it's an off shoulder top. So after that, the next measurement we are putting is our shoulder measurement, and we divided it by 2. We made a point, and then from there, from the shoulder line, we came down by 1 inch for the shoulder slope. Okay, so we are going to connect that 1 inch to the neck of the top. So when we are done doing that, the next thing we are going to take is our armhole measurement, and to get our armhole measurement we're going to divide our bust by 6 inches, and we are going to add 1.5, okay, 1.5 to 8. Okay, this is the standard for getting your armhole measurement. So when we've made the point, we are now going to connect that shoulder slope down to the armhole measurement we just took with a straight line. So when we're done connecting it, we are also going to connect that new line, that new point. Now we are going to draw a straight line across the bodies of the top. Okay, that new straight line we just drew, we are going to label it the chest line. Okay, this one is shoulder line, this is the chest line, the bust line, and then the full length of the top. Okay, so when we're done doing that, next thing we are going to do is we are going to put in our armhole curve, because you know our armhole is not straight. So to do that, we are going to find the midpoint of the armhole measurement, and we are going to go in by 1/2 inch on the midpoint. Okay, so after that I went ahead to take my dart measurement, and my bust nipple to nipple measurement is 8 inches. I divided it by 4, and I went in by 4 inches on the full length, on the bust measurement, and on the chest line, and I'm going to connect this with a straight line. So after I was done doing that, the next thing is to go in with my dart, and to take my dart I'm going to go out by 0.5 inches on the both sides, on the inside and on the outer part of our top. So after that I'm going to connect it with a straight line into the chest line. Okay, remember this is the back part that we are cutting. If it's the front part, this dart is going to end on the under bust of our top, but because this is the back part, that is why this dart is extending to the chest line. Okay, so after that the next thing we are going to do is to start imputing our circumference measurement, and for the bust we divided it by 4 inches, and we input that whatever we got on the chest line and also on the bust line. And then after that we are going to connect these 3 points, the points our bust measurement, the point we went in on our armhole, and then the shoulder point. We are going to connect these 3 points together. So this is what we have after connecting it. So the next thing, we are going to input our waist measurement on the hem of our top. Okay, we are also going to divide our waist measurement by 4 inches, and we are going to add that 1 inch we took for the dart. We are going to replace it, and then we are going to connect the points together. All right, so this is what we have. So when we are done, this is what we have. The next thing we're going to do, remember this is an off shoulder, so we are going to come down by 5 inch. Okay, so this 5 inch, it's totally dependent on what you want. If you want yours to be more open, you come down by 6 inches. If you want yours to be more close, you come down by 4 inches. Okay, but I went down by 5 inches because I don't want my own to be too open, and I want it to be moderate. So then after doing that, we are going to connect it to the straight line, and then we are going to cut out our top. So when we're done cutting it out, the next thing we're going to do is to cut out that 5 inches. We're going to cut it out because we will not be needing it. This is an off shoulder, but if yours is not an off shoulder, then you don't have to cut it out. Okay, so to cut on the actual fabric, we are going to place our fabric on fold. Okay, I'm going to place our fabric on fold, and this is me pinning my pattern on my fabric. I just want to make it stable, so when I'm cutting, it will not shift. Okay, so I'm just keeping it in place with a pin so it doesn't shift when I'm cutting the actual fabric. After I was done doing that, the next I'm going to do, I'm going to add 0.5 inches allowance. You remember we did not add any sewing allowance when we are making the pattern, so I'm going to add 0.5 inches allowance on the top of the top, and then also I'm going to add 1 inch on the side and 1 inch on the hem. Okay, so that 1 inch is the sewing allowance, and on the hem the 1 inch is the folding allowance for the hem, and on the top the 0.5 inch is the folding allowance for the top. Okay, always remember to add your sewing allowance. If you don't add it on your pattern, always remember to add it on your main fabric. Okay, so I'm just going to cut out, and you have to look closely because I did not add anything on the armhole. I cut the armhole exactly as it is. So this is what it looks like after cutting it out. And for the front, I'm going to slant the front. Okay, depends on what you want. If you want it to be very open, then you can come down to the bust line, but because I don't want my own to be very open, I'm going to slant it to the chest line. That way it's not going to be showing my bust when I wear it. Okay, so from the armhole, you're going to slant it to the chest line or down to the bust line, depending on how open you want yours to be. Okay, so this is what I do to the pattern of the back, so I can cut the front from that same pattern. So this is what it looks like when I was done. All right, so I'm going to place it on my actual fabric. So this is it. I've already folded my actual fabric into two, and I placed it. Okay, and I left allowance for the crossing. Okay, so on the front I added extra 9 inches on the outer part, on the center part of the top for the front, because you know it's a wrapping top. Okay, and this is me adding the 1 inch allowance for the hem that I added before, and I'm also going to add the 1 inch to the side and 0.5 inches to the top of the top. And that is funny. So I'm also going to add it to the upper part of the top, 0.5 inches. Okay, so you can decide to add your 8 inches, you can decide to add 9 inches for the wrap effect. What I just decided to add is the exact measurement of my front of the my round waist measurement, because this is divided by 4. I added the extra one. Okay, so down parts I added the extra 9 inches that was supposed to be there. I added to the other side, so that when I open it up, is going to be equal. Okay, so this is what I did. Okay, so now I'm trying to find the right side and the wrong side of the fabric, so I can start sewing this top. Okay, so this is what it is now. I'm going to fold the upper part with that 0.5 inches, which means it's going to be very tiny. I'm going to fold it. I'm going to fold the two sides of the front, and for the back I'm going to fold the upper part. Okay, I'm going to fold the upper part of it with that 0.5 inches we added when we are cutting it. So this is what it looks like after I was done sewing it. As you can see, I've sewed it down the 0.5 inches, and I've also done the same for the back part. I'm going to set this aside and we're going to cut the hand. And for the hand, I folded my fabric into 4. Okay, this hand depends on what you want. If you want it to be long, if you want it to be short, but because my fabric is so little, it was not enough. That is why I made my hand to be short. Okay, so I folded it. The wideness of the hand depends on what you want, how big you want your hand to be. Okay, so I want my hand to be big enough. I want it to be gathered by an elastic, and to it to give me a bow effect. That is why I left it this big. Okay, so to cut the armhole, I'm going to measure the armhole of the actual fabric, and I'm going to make sure that it's equal to the armhole of the hand. Okay, so I'm going to go in by 3 inches and I'm going to come down by 5 inches. Then I'll connect it, and I'll measure it to make sure that it's equal to the armhole of the actual bodice. Okay, so I'm going to put elastic on the upper part of the sleeve and also on the down part of the sleeve, so it's gathered and it's going to give me that bow effect. So I'm just dividing the 2 sleeve. This is supposed to be 2 sleeves, so I just divided it into 2. And then I decided to add 1 inch to this, because we are going to fold in 1 each. We're going to fold away 1 inch on the upper part like this. Okay, and then we're going to fold away 0.5 inches on the lower part. Okay, this is the elastic I'm going to use. This one is for the lower part of the hand, and this 1 inch elastic is for the upper part of the hand. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go over to my sewing machine, and I'm going to fold the upper part. Okay, I'm going to leave enough allowance, creating a channel for a 1 inch elastic. I'm going to do the same for the other side of the hand. Okay, I'm folding it, creating a channel that will be enough to pass a 1 inch elastic. And for the down part, I'm also going to create a channel that's going to be enough for an ½ inch elastic. Okay, so I'm going to go over to my sewing machine and I'm going to do the elastic part. Alright, so this is what it looks like after I was done putting the elastic. Okay, this is the down part. Okay, and the other part is the upper part. Okay, so the next I'm going to do, I also went ahead to put that on the back side of my top. I only did put this dart on the back side, I didn't put for the front. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and start attaching the sleeve. Alright, this is what the sleeve looks like when I want to attach it. I'm going to place the fabric and the sleeve the right side facing each other, and I'm going to spin it down. I'm going to attach the front too. So whenever you are putting this, you're going to make sure that the right side is always facing each other. Okay, so this is the armhole. I'm putting the armhole of the sleeve and the armhole of the actual top together, and I'm pinning it down. So when I'm done, this is what it should look like. I'm going to do the exact same thing for the other side of the sleeve. I'm also going to attach it. So when I was done attaching it, the next thing I'm going to do if I finish sewing it is to shape this top with 1 inch. Remember, we added 1 inch sewing allowance when we are adding our sewing allowances, right? So we are going to use that same 1 inch to shape it. Okay, so after shaping it, I'm going to fold it. I'm going to fold the hem with that same 1 inch we added when we were cutting it. Okay, so after I was done doing that, this is what it looks like. Okay, I've shaped it. I've also folded the hem. Okay, so and I've also sewn my rope. Okay, this is the rope. I'm supposed to press this rope, so always press your clothes while you're sewing. It's going to make your clothes come out neater. Okay, so this is it. I'm just going to go ahead and join this rope, okay, to the end of the front. Okay, this is where the front ends. For one side I'm going to join the rope, and for the other side I'm also going to join the rope. Okay, this is what it's going to look like when I want after joining the rope. Okay, so at this point, if you are still yet to subscribe, please hit the subscribe button and also turn on your notification bell to get notified anytime I upload a video. Thank you very much. So this is what it looks like when I was done adding the rope. Thank you very much, and I'll see you tomorrow.